Board games are all over the place. Walk into a store, into any kind of entertainment aisles, and you can be almost guaranteed to see board games. Well, that depends on which aisles you walk into, of course. Board games are an important part of our lives. They range from traditional games like chess, mancala, pachisi, to the more noticeable board games like Battleship, Monopoly, Sorry, and Clue, which was a murder mystery board game where the goal was to solve a murder by finding out who the killer is, along with the weapon used and the room the crime was committed in. The game, much like any other board game, was remade in various different styles, as well as making its way into many different forms of media, like a series of books, a VHS game, a line of video games, but probably the most famous adaptation is the 1985 cult classic film adaptation directed by Jonathan Lynn. This film didn't get much praise in the theaters. It was the video release that made the film get mainstream attention. It's got some great stars for the film, like Tim Curry, Madeline, Kahn, Christopher Lloyd, Lee Ving, Colleen Camp, and much more. The plot is that 7 guests are invited to dinner by an unknown host. One of the guests is revealed to have been responsible for blackmailing the others under very guilty secrets. Upon the reveal, the other 6 guests are each given a weapon, implying that in order to keep their secrets safe, they must kill the exposer of the blackmail situation, a butler named Wadsworth. The blackmailer turns off the lights, gunshots, screaming, the lights come back on, and the blackmailer's dead, and the living guests need to figure out who is responsible for the death of Mr. Body. One of the main differences between the film and the board game is that in the board game, you're only required to solve the murder of the one victim in order to win the game. In the film, the body count rises as the film progresses, whether it be someone else who works at the mansion or a guest that stopped by to use a phone in one of the rooms. In total, there are 6 victims, including Mr. Body. Each of the 6 victims were killed by one of the 6 different weapons. To stay in tune with a board game, the filmmakers shot 3 different endings. While the film was in the theaters, they played a different ending for each theater and would sometimes tell the audience which ending plays before the movie starts. When the film came to VHS, they played all 3 endings one after another. On certain DVD and Blu-ray releases, they have 2 different options for viewing it. Either have one of the 3 endings come at you randomly, or play all 3 endings one by one. Explaining how wonderfully this film connects to the 3 endings require explaining the suspects and each of the victims, which I'm not going to do. The best way to understand it is to see it for yourself.